are we Facebook friends? So are you concerned about what I did in fact? What did I do?
Okay guys, I'm going to be at the dais tonight. This is my first regular, I guess technically special city council meeting. So Gary's going to man the camera for me and make sure things don't collapse. Thank you, Gary.
No, I think you accept his story. Yes, and I know different. But in any case, again, another occasion. No, I never said that, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You know, cameras can be altered. Yes, ma'am. I'm a college professor. I can follow lots of conversations. It's my occupation. I'm not bragging. I'm just telling you what I do for a living. Well, again, it's nice. But it's nice to hear both sides of the story. Maybe someday we can chat about That's okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's actually going to begin on that one song. He is after all these years. Now, what part of Texas is he from? If he was going to use that as Caden, I think I've seen your.
Oh, you almost had to buy pizza for everybody.
Soccer. Oh, how are you? Hi, nice to meet
I'm
you.
a pepperoni jalapeno and pineapple.
Get out the other day. Oh,
Pineapple, you messed up with the pineapple.
Oh, no, sweet, and salty. That's kind of like me. A little bitter in there. Go with it.
Here, Vicki Wilson. Here. Amy Teal. Here. All are present, we have a quorum.
Line 3, invocation. Is there anybody who would like to lead us in prayer?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity to gather here tonight to hear important information from the community. We thank you for the refreshing rain and the beautiful weather. We ask for wisdom and understanding for those making decisions tonight and kind hearts from our community. We ask these things in Jesus' holy and precious name. Amen.
Amen. Lord, pledge of allegiance. Would Brian like to lead us? Anyone will be allowed to speak on any matter other than personnel matters. Any matter not specifically listed for public hearing elsewhere on the agenda or matters under litigation for a length of time not to exceed 4 minutes. No counsel or discussion or action may take place on a matter until such matter has been placed on an agenda and posted in accordance with the law. Texas Government Code, Section 551042, we'll go in at 6:02. Our first speaker is Daniel Wilson.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you. My name is Daniel Wilson, and I've probably called Whitney home for over 30 years, aside from my time serving in the military. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you today about a proposal close to my heart. I have requested this item to be placed on the first June meeting. In December 2023, my 17-year-old daughter Louise was tragically shot and killed in a roadway incident in Houston. Since that devastating day, my family has worked to turn our grief into advocacy for safer roadways and safer communities. Louise loved living in Whitney, though she was born in Germany. She considered this town her home after my retirement from the Army. She worked at several businesses here in town and was well known by many, and dreamed of serving with the sheriff's office as a canine handler. Throughout the investigation into her murder, discussions with detectives and industry experts has exposed a significant gap in roadway technology, a gap that, if addressed, could improve public safety. And in response to her murder, this community rallied behind us in our darkest hour, raising reward funds to help find her killer. Now we want to give back to this town that meant so much to Louise by donating an automatic license plate reader system. We have spoken with Flock Safety, one of the nation's largest ALPR providers, and reached out to Chief Scholes, who has affirmed that this technology would be of significant benefit to law enforcement efforts. Nearby agencies, including the City of West, have recognized the value of these systems. West currently operates 9 ALPR cameras with plans to expand to 12, while Bosque County has recently installed 2. It is important to clarify that these are not red light or speed cameras. They do not issue citations. Instead, they function as an always alert officer, one that requires no salary, no time off, and works 24/7. These systems specialize in detecting stolen vehicles and identifying violent criminals, kidnapping suspects, murder suspects, rapists, human traffickers, and smugglers. Individuals who often seek refuge in small towns where law enforcement lacks advanced investigative tools. We want to cover the cost of the install in the first year of use for the system, and while in discussion with Flock and other agencies that use our system, we have learned that there are many different types of grants or initiatives that will 100% cover the cost of the system after the first year of use. Also, during the first 90 days, outside law enforcement, such as the Sheriff's Office and DPS, will have access to the system, so any alerts for vehicles will be sent to multiple agencies. There is also the possibility the system can integrate with the recent purchase of the city system for the library and the city hall. By donating an ALPR system to Whitney, we not only honor Louise's memory, but also provide a vital resource that enhances safety and strengthens our ability to protect the community she loved. I respectfully ask the council to consider this proposal as a meaningful step for making Whitney a safer place for all. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Second speaker is Gary Teal.
Hello, my name is Gary Teal, and I wanted to say a couple of things about the election. I've worked in elections all my life. I've worked in Afghanistan on elections. I've worked since 1978, and I think we had a really great election here. Everybody should come out of this process knowing that their vote counted and it mattered, because it was really that close. I watched inside the polls on election day. I was there when the provisional ballots were counted. I was there for the recount. And everything was done the way it should be. And if anyone anywhere says they're not sure about that, tell them to call Gary Teal, because I want to really talk to them and tell them that this is the way it's supposed to go. Let me say some things about Amy. Some candidates talk about all the things that they're going to do for their constituents when they get elected. And even small government conservatives make these promises, and most try very hard to keep them. That's the way it should work. Tell the voters what you will vote for and what you won't, and keep your word, and see if you get reelected. Amy talked to a lot of Whitney voters. She listened to their concerns. She told them online, in writing, and in conversation what her agenda was, and that is to rein in spending, lower property taxes, and strengthen property rights. She was not any voter's old friend, except for me, and she had no local track record, but she was elected on the strength of that platform and those promises. When she votes to keep those promises, it's not because she doesn't love Whitney, doesn't love little children, or because she wants attention, or because she has anything against anyone personally. Amy will almost certainly never support a law or a regulation if personal responsibility and liberty could deliver the same results. I know she will never support a tax or government expenditure if she believes that individuals could and would fund these works of their own free will rather than being forced to do so. Your meetings are going to be longer with Amy on the dais. She will ask questions, not to pointlessly criticize every dollar that is spent, but because she believes that our Texas laws were carefully written to make every citizen a participant in government. Again, I believe this will be helpful to every elected official in Whitney, because nobody would be able to say going forward that something was pushed through in secret without discussion or on the assumption that nobody's watching. I am asking that you listen carefully to what Amy says. She's speaking for many Whitney residents. If you vote the opposite way she does, that's fine. I know you also represent a constituency, and that's politics. It's a contest of ideas and not personalities.
Thank you. Diane Wyatt.
My name is Diane Wyatt. I live at 201 North Colorado Street, Whitney. Thank you for the opportunity to be able to speak. And I'm going to, I don't know if this is proper or not, but I'm going to talk about item 12, which is the farmer's market. I am unsure of what entity this farmer's market is. Is it under the Chamber of Commerce? Is it an independent company? Is it a nonprofit? I'm not sure what we're dealing with today. But I'm gonna just say what I think based on my own personal judgment. The fact that they are wanting to shut down the city street, which everyone knows there's very little parking in downtown Whitney to begin with. Especially when some people have businesses and they don't park in front of a building, they park in front of somebody else's, so they'll have more room for customers. On Sunday, there's hardly any because the church, apparently Whitney people like to go to church, and they are filling the downtown parking on Sunday, which is a good thing. But I'm just saying there is a problem with the parking, and to shut down any parking in the area does harm other businesses. Anybody would like to have a free space to have a business run. Most of the businesses have mortgages, they have insurance, they have electrical, they have this, that, and the other. And the cry from people that want to do that is that it brings people downtown to shops. Well, there are some businesses that don't require that, but they're having to suffer the consequences of having it. Because it looks like to me, having lived here for 10 years, that anytime anybody runs out of money, they want to shut down Whitney and have some kind of event that brings in money. Every time they shut down Whitney, the people that are paying for those mortgages and bringing in taxes on a regular basis suffer. That's all I have to say, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Speaker 4, Jeannie Coons.
I'm Jeannie Coons, and I'm a resident of Whitney. And I thank all of you for the opportunity to speak. I know I have 4 minutes, and that you're not going to respond to me, but this is my opinion. I would like to acknowledge the King Memorial Methodist Church. They have, as many of you know, a thrift store. And they also did the Spring Fest, which was at the beginning of the month. And they are a great addition to the community. They are a great part of the community. They have that store open Tuesdays and Saturdays every single week of the year. And there's 13 volunteers when they're open. They have a total of something like 600, almost 700 hours that was put in volunteer hours to make the Spring Fest. They had the building, they got the tables, volunteers brought in chairs, they brought in bags, and it was very, very successful. One of the things that they do is they take our gently used things and they sell them. And the profits from that, because the volunteers aren't getting paid, the profits from that go into local causes. And the local cause of the Spring Fest was, it was the cause of building beds. So they are providing, I'm trying to remember how anyway, they're building beds for children. So children that are going to foster homes, or for whatever reasons. And they work with other community groups. They work with the police, they work with food shelters, they work with the schools on finding out where those needs are. So all the funds that were raised at Spring Fest where they put in over 700 hours went to those things. They also have a voucher program that allows people to get close to school, and they identify those people through, again, agencies and schools and fire departments, police departments. They all work together to provide the services. And they have been, I'm just overwhelmed at what they've done in this month in bringing all of this together and making it possible for people in need to have it. And very much appreciate it. Are you from the church? I'm not a member of the church, but I'm really grateful for it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Timeout 6:15. Consent agenda, all matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine and will be enacted in one motion. Should a council member desire discussion of any item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Mayor, I'd like to pull item 7 for discussion.
Still need a motion on action
Yeah.
on 6.
Okay.
So line item 6, act and approve the meeting minutes for the special meeting held on April 3rd, 2025, the regular meeting on April 17th, 2025, and the special meeting on May 13th, 2025.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor?
Department reports.
Well, we did those 7 now.
Oh,
Is it
sorry.
separate?
Sorry.
That's okay.
Line item 7, act on approving the City of Whitney expense reports and register report for April 2025.
And I guess I'll start since I asked for this. I am not interested in a protracted discussion, but there has been some spirited online discussion regarding salaries and expenses. And by way of a quick, just the facts, man, Q&A, I'd like to get some very basic info laid out for the public regarding city expenses. And just real quick, number 1, is there a salary, stipend, or other payment or reimbursement schedule budgeted for the city council positions?
No.
No, thank you. For the mayor position?
No.
No, thank you. And real quick, and just for the record, I knew that because I'm looking at the salary. This is public record, so anybody can get that. As far as I'd like to flip through these quick salary lines on here, real quick, just to verify this. On admin, we have 4 employees averaging 42 to 85K. And then public works, we've got 10 people, 31 to 64K. Police, we've got 8 at 32 to 83K. Fire, 1 at 75K. Parks, and I know there's not a lot of money being spent right now. I'm looking forward to that with the Lions Club and Youth League and Garden Club. For the record, I would like to see a volunteer parks advisory board to help coordinate a lot of what's going on with the parks. On the library, we've got 3 at 17 to 50K, and same here on this, we're budgeting almost $200,000 for the library, so I'd love to see a volunteer library advisory board for that too. Ambulance service, this one had 21 employees, with 20 of them making 31 to 62K, and that is the highest number here. Can you give a quick, 30-second rundown to the public by way of a city government 101 on why we've got 21 people there?
Councilman Teal, one of the things in our ambulance service, most of those are part-time employees. I believe, and our emergency services director can give the actual rundown. I believe we only have 4 or 5 full-time employees. I think the actual number is 4. Everything else is part-time, so that's why there's so many. By not having full-time employees, we do not have to pay the benefits and all that. So it looks like there's a lot more people employed there, but the fact is, it actually saves the city money by doing it the way we do.
Expected, thank you. And then municipal court, 1 for 12K. IT, 1 at 77K. Animal services and code enforcement shows 1 salary. I'm guessing that's it right here in public works though, which gives us 10 folks at 31 to 64K. And then I think that's it on the expenses and stuff, at least on the salary and budget there. On the check register, I did get a chance to go through and chat with Christy about a lot of these. And again, just by way of referencing item 14, I'm hoping to see that this info will be released to the public. So I wanted to get a quick brief of how to read this for the public. I know a lot of these are, and not line by line, but just for the record, but there are several monthly expenses, several that are just routine maintenance type of stuff. There's a little section that is titled U. Can you tell us what the U is for? I know people will ask.
Christy, would you like to talk about that
Yeah.
since utility billing is in your department?
So the U is customers that disconnect their water service. What they have left in their deposit after their final bill comes out is refunded to them, and that's where that check comes from.
Perfect. That's it from me, guys.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the City of Whitney expense report and register for the month of April 2025.
I'll second.
All in favor? You have a vote? Abstain.
Department reports, Department of Emergency Services.
Good afternoon, Honorable Mayor, council members, thank you for the opportunity. April was actually probably the busiest month since I've been, taking position. EMS calls, we did run 64 calls, 55 calls were in the city, 9 calls were out in the county covering for Carefly. I did not put this in here, but Carefly did have to cover for us one time, while we were out on call helping them. So they had to delay response at that point. Our average response time for the ambulance in the city was 5 minutes, and out in the county was 9 minutes, which is pretty good. Some of them were all the way out to 2604, and one was even in white light. So I feel like the guys and gals are getting out of the station pretty fast and making calls. On the fire side, we ran 108 calls. 5 fire calls in the city, 12 fire calls in the county. Where we really were busy was first responder calls, were 50 in the city, 41 out of the county. During the last month, we also did 3 septic surveys. We also made it put in here, we did 2 COs, one for the nutrition and nibbles restaurant there, the old hospital, and then we also did, because the nursing home has changed their name and company, so we went ahead, that was the regular inspection and their CO at the same time. Total calls for the month of April was 172. If you look at the chart, it definitely was a lot more than the months following. Very busy months. Any questions?
No,
Thank you.
Police Department and code compliance, Chief.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. So in April, we responded to 382 incidents involving most of the services, motor vehicle crashes, and warrant arrests. We ended up making 2 arrests last month. We initiated 208 traffic stops, which resulted in 311 citations for warnings. Kind of an interesting month for us in April. I know Whitney PD responded to a physical disturbance that was occurring at McDonald's, which resulted in a stabbing. That's currently under investigation with the Criminal Investigation Division. We also had a motor vehicle crash involving a pedestrian over here on East Jefferson, which has been an issue because we've also had fatality crashes in the past in that same area. DPS assisted with that investigation, and we've actually closed that one out. We also assisted the Hill County Sheriff's Office in Tall Timbers area with a shooting that resulted in one gunshot victim, who was alive and well. That investigation is being handled by the Hill County Sheriff's Office. We're able to go to Whitney IC to the high school. Officer Brown was able to give a presentation on fentanyl and drug addiction to the entire high school population right before graduation. And then amongst other duties involving animal control, code enforcement, still working on bids. Every time I get a bid in, I get something better. Working on bids for that in the exact location where we're actually going to put in the animal control facility. On the code enforcement side, case by case as it comes in, basically directly going out there, meeting people face to face, and trying to get the actions or the properties corrected and go forward with that. So, any other questions, concerns?
Just real quick, you mentioned that there were other problems in that same area.
Correct.
Can you share, just for the record, where exactly?
So the area is gonna be right here on East Jefferson Avenue, right there at Pearl Street. It's right across from Jake's number 2. We've actually had a couple fatality crashes in the last couple of years, and then most recently a pedestrian crash there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public Works, Mark.
Council, excuse me, Madam Mayor. Public Works, April stats. We had completed 3 completed water leaks. We had installed 2 new water taps. We had 4 sewer repairs. Our hydrovac right now is on a recall. It's still working. It's just on a recall, and Vermeer's going to come out and fix it at the shop, so we don't have to take it anywhere. The electrician is to set up, to repair the park lights on the pole, courtesy of the WWFL at the city park, the pole that's been taken down by the wind. After call hours, we actually had 8 water calls and 12 extra sewer calls. Any questions?
Not so much a question. I would like to thank WWFL for that.
Yes.
Thank you. Library report.
Good evening, citizens, council, mayor. As always, thanks for the opportunity to give a brief update on what we're doing here at the library. In April, we welcomed a total of almost 1,300 visitors, demonstrating the continued importance of our space as a hub for learning, connection, community engagement. Of those folks that visited, 293 participated in the programs that we were holding. Those programs continue to offer enriching and diverse experiences for all ages, from our preschool all the way up into a job fair, which we were especially proud to host this past month. We saw 90, that's a 9 and a 0, individual job seekers coming in and looking for jobs at this job fair. On that particular day, we had 143 visitors, highlighting that role not just as a resource for education and recreation or cooling and heating, but as a critical support for economic opportunity. Our outreach efforts remain a priority. I completed 3 outreach visits this past month, building partnerships and bringing library resources directly into the community. Those connections are vital as we meet people where they are and touch young children's lives there in their space, and also in the community. I hesitate to call it a nursing home, but I can't remember the new name of it, so I apologize in advance for that. But I visited there as well to make some connections with those folks. Looking ahead, we're excited to launch our summer reading program themed Color Our World. Schedule's available on the website. I encourage you all to go and look for it. You have grandkids that are coming this summer, and I have something for them to do. Summer reading is more than just fun, though. It's essential. According to Scholastic.com, nearly half of parents with school-age children said 47% of us are unaware of a summer slide, learning loss that can occur when school is not in session due to lack of reading and designated efforts around reading. So we want to keep these children engaged, curious, and confident heading into the next school year. In addition to all these exciting programming things, I'd really be remiss if I did not pull out today in this public forum the Volunteer Advisory Board Library Foundation's generous funding of some improvements to the grounds and the building. This funding comes directly from the community, from individual private donors, and the foundation is using this to do a landscape cleanup, build a new pavilion over the back patio, a fenced-in backyard area, among other enhancements. They're going to make our outdoor space more welcoming and functional for year-round use. As always, I've talked a little bit too long, but do you have any questions I can answer? Yes, Amy?
I do, because when I first moved here, I asked at the library if there was an advisory board and was told no.
Maybe you didn't ask me.
Well, and I haven't seen any notification of any advisory board meetings, so
Yeah,
I
that's
would
fine.
love if you could share real quick a little bit more about this advisory board and when they meet, and is the public invited, and everything, a little bit more.
Yes, it's a couple of different things. The library is a unique entity within the city, right? So this building and this land is owned by a foundation, the Lake Whitney Public Library Foundation. That is one entity. It does have a board, and I'm happy to go over the details with you. It's kind of a long thing for everybody right now, but we can certainly do it. We'll talk about it some more. So there's a foundation. There are a set of, I'm trying to count, 5 to 7 people, according to the bylaws on there, at all times. And then secondary to that, there's the Friends of the Library, which is basically a 501c3 entity that has been a little stagnant recently since COVID. We are working on ramping that back up. As you all know, I'm new in this role, so it's taken me a little while to get my feet wet and my arms around it. So that is something that you'll be hearing more about as we move forward. Does that answer your question?
Kind of, almost. And as far as meetings, are these meetings that the public can attend?
I haven't checked the bylaws on that. I'm not 100% sure, and that's just purely exposure. I always have to look those things up.
Sure. And I mean, and I'll reiterate, since we've got, we are budgeting $200,000 of the taxpayers' money, I would still like to see a public city board that's kind of discussing and seeing more of what's going on at the library, just by way of transparency and accountability with taxpayer funds.
Anytime anybody can get more people to talk to me at the library, I'm in.
Okay.
Anything else? Good. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Moving to our regular agenda, line item 8.
That's okay.
Okay, so the municipal court report, I have a total on here of 117 citations with a total collections of $8,069.80.
Regular agenda, line item 8, hear presentation and receive information from TZAC on virtual city financial officer services.
Mayor, Council, I'd like to give you a real quick, we're gonna have a virtual, meeting with the individual that's, kind of over this whole thing. Every month, the mayor, myself, and Christie attend a luncheon with other small cities. For instance, just yesterday, we were in Italy, and there's always different cities that come and share ideas about how, the challenges that we all face in small government. And I want to make very clear that they're all Type A general law cities. It's important that everyone understands that Whitney is a Type A general law city. It is not a home rule city. Very, very different. So being able to share ideas amongst different people and bounce things off of them, how they handle things, it has really benefited all of us. One of the things in one of the discussions several months back, we actually were talking about finances, financial transparency, in fact. And one of the things that we have always heard in this town is that the city's hiding money, or the city's doing something with money and it's fishy. And that was a topic of discussion because apparently Whitney's not the only one. If you work in government, you're the big bad devil. So, this was brought up to us by another city, Maypearl. They use these folks. They also help with preparation of the budget. They will do reconciliations, they will do all this other stuff. And I'm not gonna go into all the details because that's the purpose of the meeting. But I wanted to give you a little background on why we're presenting this to you. Again, this is something for you to look at. If you wanna look at doing this, they help with budget prep, they help with all of the above. So we'll have a discussion item. I put a specific discussion item on the agenda. Once the presentation's made, if you have specific questions, then we can kind of discuss and go from there. But that's the background, that's how this came to me tonight. So, with that, Ben, if you have Doug on there, and, we'll go from there.
Thank you. Just making sure everybody can still hear me, right?
Yeah, could you put the mic a little closer? Try again, Doug.
Can everybody hear me right?
Can everybody hear? Yeah, you're good.
Go ahead, Doug.
Okay, awesome. All right, so yes, thank you for the introduction. My name is Doug Martello. I run the Zach Finance and the virtual CFO side of our company. So we're actually a larger scope company that does a lot of sales tax and property tax analysis within Texas. I think maybe over 275 cities or so use our software in Texas. But then we have our other division, which I'm in charge of, which is the virtual CFO services. So this idea came about as, I don't know, 6-7 years ago. We were working through some things, and I was doing some remote work, and we were kind of finding it that these small towns have difficulty hiring finance directors, and if they want to hire a finance director, it's just too expensive. So that's what we created the virtual CFO model, where we work with cities, basically like we're city staff, call, text, email on the daily for information and items that are needed. So it's basically like we're there, except we come at a fraction of the cost. So that's kind of the model we set up for the virtual CFO stuff. Every city's different, every city's budget's different, so we kind of work with everybody as we go. So that's a little bit about us. A little bit about myself. I'll just get into myself. I used to be a government auditor for 8 years, and then I transitioned over to the finance director role in the city, and then started this, and this just grew into what it is today. So that's a little bit about me. We have a small team on this side of highly qualified individuals, CPAs, former finance directors, former city managers that help out all along the way with this virtual finance side of things. So with our proposal and with everything that comes with us with Zach Finance, you get access to everybody. So the two guys that own the software and sales tax analysis platform, they used to be former city managers, big into economic development, lots of things. If you have questions, we can help across the large scope. Just kind of scroll down here. So a little bit more into detail of exactly what we do and what we provide. So monthly bank reconciliations, that's a big one. Got to get done and keep up to make sure what you're getting as council is actually everything that's accurate that's in there. So that's something that we do. We provide, we do every month. And then financial reporting and dashboarding. So sometimes I saw it earlier, I haven't seen what y'all are given. I know y'all use FundView, right?
We transitioned to Edmonds.
Edmonds, okay. So I'm sure you get like a printout, right, of revenues, expenses.
That's correct.
I saw your check register was on the agenda there. So basically, we would help provide that service, make sure everything's up to date and in there before it gets to you. So those are the two things on the monthly that we take care of. And then on the annual, the budget consulting, working with city staff as far as helping prepare the budget, knowing which goes into each line item, personnel models, salaries, all that side of what's in the city. So those couple of things usually take care of those items that kind of get your audit in 2023. So we do everything from journal entries, conversions, other things that we cannot do. But as long as somebody's there, kind of doing the payables, utility billing, payroll, we can kind of handle everything else. So we prepared this a little while ago, so just so you're aware. I don't know if you can see it or not on the screen there, but that's the cost all in. I kind of separated it into two pieces. So you got your finance and audit prep piece at the $2,500 a month, and you got your budget preparation at $1,000 a month. It's kind of a la carte. If you want it all together, it's $3,500. So that's kind of it for my presentation. So if I can take questions, or I know it's kind of a lot.
Doug, may I ask, this is Billy, could you just kind of go into a little bit more about some of maybe the references of local cities similar to Whitney's population that your guys help, and kind of how you've helped change their financial status?
Okay, yeah, definitely. So actually the closest ones that really have to you, Gatesville and Nolanville, they're kind of around Waco-ish. But I personally work with almost 30 now, cities all around Whitney's kind of size.
What was that other city?
Gatesville and Nolanville.
Gatesville, Nolensville. We've got Coleman for a long time. Hudson Oaks, Springtown, Aledo out there by DFW. Childress up there kind of a little west. Ondos by San Antonio. So we kind of range from a little bit bigger to a little bit smaller, and then kind of everything in between. But this Whitney-sized city is kind of our target market as far as what we like to do and the manageability of the city of the size. So you mentioned Maypearl. Yes, we do Maypearl. Venus is right around there. And Keene is right around there as well. So, but going into a little bit of maybe success stories. I know one of the cities we came into, they had some financial trouble. Not very much money in the bank at all. So we took them from just about $6,000 in the bank, and I think they're stretching over about $1.5 million right now with about $1 billion invested. They were about 3 years behind on audits. We're just finishing the 24 one right now. So we kind of moved quickly to get them caught up on audits, caught up on their money situation, and just knowing what's going into their budget and managing their budget, not just spending money because there's cash in the bank. So that's kind of one of our little success stories. There's a few more in there that we've taken from not very much fund balance to kind of a healthy fund balance. That's kind of what we like to pride ourselves. Kind of work with you, make sure fund balances are growing, money is being spent right, and the budgets are done right. So.
Anybody have any questions that you can think of while we have Doug on the phone? Services that they may have or questions they're about? No? Doug, thank you very much for your time, and I'll be in touch soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Item 9, deliberate and give direction regarding Jean Zag's presentation on virtual city financial officer services.
Mayor and Council, if I may, one of the things that Doug touched on, I'd like to bring up again is we were 3 years in audit behind when I kind of fell into this role. Christie's worked really, really hard to get those things up and current. It's a tremendous amount of work, and something that has been noted in every one of the audits that I've read since I've been here is internal controls. What does that mean? It's always annotated in our audits that city staff wear too many hats, that Christie has to do too many things. It's in every one of our audits. So when we look at somebody looking at this from the outside, I think it would help. One of the reasons that we have to send all of our Public Information Act stuff to our Open Records Department is we simply do not have the staff. We do not have the time to dedicate to that. I'm hoping that in the future we do. We don't have a PIO, so that's unfortunate, but that's what we have to do. I really think that the path forward to financial success for this city is to take this off of the city secretary and put it on somebody else, at least from the outside looking in. Yes, it's an expenditure. I honestly do feel, though, that this will save money on the audit side, because we've been over budget on our audits for the past 2 years because we've been trying to get caught up. I think that if we can help, keep that on the level with somebody else, it'll be good. Now, that's also because we transitioned financial softwares 3 times, by no fault of our own. But something else I want to touch on is the budget preparation. By statute, the mayor is the budget officer of this city. The person that preps the budget should be the mayor, okay? The mayor is a volunteer position, so a lot of that falls to your department heads and me to do, okay? You go to any budget format, the top page general law, they will tell you it is not the city administrator's job. I'm not a city administrator, by the way, to do that, okay? Somebody from the outside that would help get our finances correct, get our projections correct, which, by the way, this first year, we are on it. But I just want to say that I think that in the future, if this city is to succeed, we need to start looking at all the resources available to us. And to that, that's all I have to say.
All of our audits are up to date.
We're working on the last year right now.
We have a motion.
Well, this is more of a give guidance, Madam Mayor. We didn't put deliberate or act. Is this something you guys want us to look at? You don't like this idea? I need input, okay? This is to bring it to your attention. If you want to go down this path or not.
I will add, if I may, the briefing does say the proposed services could be funded by reallocating existing resources. It sounds fiscally prudent from what I've seen, but I do want to see the numbers in the budget that actually show that change. So the budget workshop dates are in August, and those dates, just for the record, the 12th and the 26th,
I believe so.
and they'll be during the day at City Hall.
Absolutely. Yeah, so what we're trying to say there is we believe that the extra money that we've had to spend in audit services, that this will more than make up for. You're talking, if the council decided to go with the entire package of everything, you're talking $42,000 a year. That's cheaper than an employee. That's if you choose to use the whole package. So that's budget prep and the whole deal.
Amy, if I may, I would like us to further explore it, look at the options. I think with the criticism of how we're spending the money, the more we communicate and make things open to the public, the more we're trusted as city council representatives and to whoever comes on board in the future. So I'm open to at least examining this.
I agree with Cheryl.
So I would like to ask this, is this something that you want to look at in this fiscal year, or is this something that you want to allocate towards when we start talking budget? Because if we're going to ask them to help us with the budget process, we're going to need to implement this very soon. But it's just, I need that feedback. I need to know where to go. Again, this is not something, I don't steer this ship, I just keep it pointed where y'all tell me to. So I just need to know, do we want to wait till next year's budget, and we're talking October 1, or are we going to start dipping our toe into that pool now?
So if I can ask a question, in regards to what it could possibly save us as far as that goes, is we could just see an idea of what we've had spent so far, and then what we can look at what it can save us going forward. You see what I'm saying? That, whether it would be good for this year or not.
So to be clear, you would like to see a financial analysis on what we spend on audit services versus what we're going to spend here and see what the differential is?
Absolutely.
A cheat sheet.
Yes.
Okay, I'll absolutely get that prepared.
On item 10, deliberate and act on resolution R 20250502, waiving and or forgiving payments in lieu of taxes pilot due to the housing authority of the City of Whitney for the period of 2020 to 2025.
Okay, so I'm not real familiar with this. This is something that the housing authority, the housing authority is a function there of the city, in the grand scheme of things. They've waived the taxes for them before. I know that Chrissy's dealt with it before. This is the first time it's come up since I've been here. We did have our attorney review all of this and look into it. She said that this is something that does happen all the time with housing authorities and municipalities. So I would encourage the council to continue with the petition.
I do have a question. The resolution reads, a resolution of the City Council of Whitney, Texas, waiving and/or forgiving payments in lieu of taxes, pilot, due from the Housing Authority of the City of Whitney for the years 2026 to 2030, and all prior years, specifically including the years 1965 to 2026. I am supremely curious as to how much money that actually represents. For the record, I'm in favor of waiving taxes for pretty much anything, anytime, but my curiosity is piqued.
I wouldn't have an answer for you, Ms. Steele. What I do know is that that's about when the city initiated the program for housing authority, I believe 65. So this resolution came from them, and Councilor, if you have input.
Councilmember Teal. There's a weird sound over here, so I'm sorry.
Okay. The Housing Authority did provide us a form resolution that had that waiver going backwards. I revised it to make it more clear what y'all were actually doing, but kept that language in there. And they were supposed to be here tonight, but are not here. And so anyway, I can't answer that question, but I wanted you to understand where that language came from. As Billy referenced, that particular phrase is from Bill, and it was in the last resolution that the council passed 5 years ago. So it's not brand new language. Thank you.
So do we have a motion on line item 10?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Line item 11, deliberate and act. Line item 11, deliberate and act on special events permit submitted by Amanda Cole with WWFL requesting to play a fundraiser tournament on May the 24th, 2025, in variance of section 10931 City Park closing hours.
I want to use my Army voice, so forgive me. So the reason that this is coming to the council for a special event is because it requires a variance of park closing hours. So it's in our ordinances, and the only person that can amend an ordinance or give a variance to the ordinance is the council. So the park closing hours is at 11 o'clock, and so this would put it back down, or put it past those. We absolutely support the WWFL. This is a fundraiser for them. We've always passed these in the past, but I just want to make sure that you understand the reason that you have to do this is because the variance for the park hours.
I would like to state that Councilwoman Alderman Taylor West and I did walk the neighborhoods around the park on Monday evening and just basically canvassed the neighbors and asked them if they were okay with the 2 a.m. time or possibly later with cleanup involved. And I will be happy to say that they were all okay with it. So, and we're fine with it, but we just wanted to engage in our neighborhood just to make sure that they're okay with lights and sound and all that. And we're good with it.
We got a lot of positive feedback from the community, so we felt really good about it.
Good. And again, this is something that, we've all done in the past. We've all approved these in the past. And they've actually had to move their date to meet this agenda. So we want to say, We absolutely want them to be able to do this.
Yes.
So,
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make the motion allowing WWFL to do their fundraiser.
I'll second.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Goodness.
push-ups, go. Thank you.
Thank you, sorry, we have a guest.
Yeah.
12, deliberate and act on special events permit submitted by the Lake Whitney Farmers Market for recurring event on Saturdays beginning May 24, 2025 through September 27, 2025, and closing South Brazos Street between Washington Avenue and Railroad Avenue for the hours of 7 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ann Chastain, but today I'm wearing one hat that says I'm a co-organizer for the Lake Whitney Farmers Market. One of the things that we've had is Lake Whitney Farmers Market has been around since, I don't know, 10, 12, 14 years. I've been involved since 2020. Before that, the chamber was amazingly active, putting out signs, getting vendors and everything together. And basically what it is a group of local producers who have gardens and those that make jams and jellies and pickles like every other small town has. And one of the challenges the market has had is finding a location. So I don't know if y'all have been tracking it over time. It's been in multiple different locations. So finally this year we had a false start. Another company wanted to take it over and she lost her lease, so she couldn't do it. So we jumped in and we've decided that the best location is probably right there from Washington, not really all the way to Railroad. We don't think we're gonna need that space, but we figured Washington to the alley is the main part, and then that lets the parking on the front of Washington, it lets it up and down Railroad Street and all. We're looking at blocking off the street so that we can have the tents out there. Our farmers will come in, they'll pop up their little tents on a Saturday morning. Setup would be 7 to 8, 8 to noon is the market, like it has been for the last many years. And then 12 to 1, usually they're out of there by 12, because it's really hot in July, they'll be in July. One of the challenges we had is we do have older vendors now, and one of the requests was, is there any way we can get an air conditioning if it's too hot so they can hardly need restrooms. So now I'm gonna put on my other hat, Juniper Cove Winery. We've asked for this particular spot because it's right where the historical bench is. I have set up and I've given the farmers market vendors permission to go in and use the restaurant to cool off because we've had some scenarios where they got overheated. So the winery, the tasting room will be open for the vendors to take care of. So it kind of is to help them. I don't have a product in the farmers market, I'm just one of the organizers. I help run the website, I help run the Facebook page, but I'm here today to ask the council if we could please block off that, it only Saturday morning. To address some of the questions, I'm just going to jump right ahead. One of the questions or concerns was, is it an entity, or there was some confusion. And if you look at Texas State Statute 229.702 item 3, it actually has a definition of what a farmer's market is by state law. It is a designated location used for a recurring event of which the majority of the vendors are farmers or other food producers who sell food directly to consumers. So a farmer's market's not an entity. It's actually, by state law, a designated location. So if you go to other towns like Cleveland or Burleson Center, Hillsborough, whatever, and by state law, it's a designated location. So this year, we're asking for our location to be right there on Brazos Street. Another concern was parking. Well, we were looking, and now I'm wearing my farmer's market hat. We were looking all around. We finally found a place. We still have access all up and down Washington. If you look at the time of the day, most businesses open at 10. End zone is closed. When I looked at what businesses will this affect, now I'm going to wear my other hat. Juniper Cove Winery is the #1 business that this will absolutely affect. It would affect the parking in front of my winery. It will affect the parking down the side. I have given the farmers market vendors permission to go ahead and set up. I am supporting them. I've talked to the Crossing, who is Gina and Gordon Rogers. They are also in full support. They have the building right on Railroad and Brazos. We're working with them, so if they have an event, we're definitely closing it off in the alley. If they're not, we can go all the way down to Railroad Street. We've also talked to the church, same thing, I think we talked last week, that if they have an event, same thing. We're coordinating our parking. We're on the end of town that's by Ace, so we have a lot of people. We're hoping, because of where we are, it's actually gonna draw a lot of people to downtown. We need that. We're trying to support the businesses downtown and bring in more shoppers. The other thing we're looking at is each vendor is required to follow state law, health department, department ag. We have some amazing mentors. One of our mentors is the Texas Department of, Texas A&M, AgriLife. They're a great supporter. Some of the training actually comes through them. We have the Department of Health, and we're not required to have permits for the State Department of Health. Each vendor is its own business, so they are responsible for collecting their own sales taxes if they're required to collect sales taxes. Not all the farmers' vendors are required to collect sales taxes by state law. So as we run it in all past years, everybody's responsible for following the law. There will be some sales tax that will come back to the city, and the businesses that are there, it is not affecting them in a negative way. Let's see. Any other questions so far? I kind of just jumped right in. It's just, we're kind of doing it again this year.
Yeah, I do have some questions, and I'm still real new. I have not been to a farmer's market here in Whitney.
Oh, you're missing something fun.
Oh, I'm sure. I love the idea of farmers markets. I'm very, very supportive of that as a location and hope to see this. I did go ahead and pull up the Whitney's Farmers Market vendor guidelines on,
And they do need to be updated in 2025.
at whitneysfarmersmarket.com. And the biggest thing that came up to me was on page 1, number 3, where it says, our team designs the layout, and we do the best to accommodate the patron flow of the elements and competing products. First of all, can you tell us who the team is, and in what way does the farmers market plan to accommodate for competing products? I know there's been a lot of discussion about what happened at Pioneer Days with different vendors getting shut out, but
Completely different from this. Okay, basically, as far as vendor specs, the vendors who show up have a layout. They pick and choose where they're gonna be, they all work together. Most of the vendors that are, I don't know if we have any of the vendors here today. There were here, we have one, Justin, with Booth Farms. We had several others that were gonna come, but they're picking their products. In fact, Justin got out of his farm and picking cucumbers and squash today. Yeah. So as far as the vendors, a lot of them have worked together before. They have been together before. They know certain accommodations. We have one gentleman that will be 80 years old this year. People help each other put up their tents and all that. So hopefully that answered that part of the question. As far as competing products, there is no competition in the veggies. Anybody's got veggies, you can come. In fact, if any of y'all have gardens and you have surplus, we invite you to come, because that's the #1 thing people love. They love fresh veggies. We have, usually we have egg suppliers, we have jams and jellies, we have pickles. We're not like Cincy, where you have 14 Cincy distributors. We do not allow resellers, we do not allow distributors. We are a farmers, producers, and value-added producers, and that should be in the definition there. So if they're making jams and jellies, we count that as a value-added producer. If you're growing veggies, you're a producer or a farmer.
and if there's 3 honey people, there's 3 honey people. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, and our team, as far as I know you said you haven't done the new guidelines yet.
It's pretty much the same as we were.
Okay, and who is on as part of this team of Whitney Farmers Market? You said you're a co-organizer.
I am a co-organizer because there was a little bit of a false start with another company that wanted to try to do a farmer's market. So everybody thought they were going that way. So it's in the process of being organized. Basically, it's the people who show up become the team.
Okay.
The team makes the decisions, and it's worked very well, at least since 2020 when I first got involved. Well, 2019 when I first got involved.
Majority of the members
Yeah.
present.
Yeah.
Okay,
Did that
and
answer your question?
yes, it does, as far as that goes. Bear with me here.
Okay.
On number 4, accountability, we work to ensure the overall experience is safe. However, I did have a big issue on page 3 with number 19 where it says no firearms or drugs will be allowed at the market. This is Texas, and I have been involved a lot in the last 10 years with our legislation to make sure that we have Texas as a permitless carry state.
Okay, let me stop you right there.
Yes.
You misread it. Basically, we're not having a vendor who sells firearms. We're not having a vendor who's selling fireworks. Yeah, we totally understand that big area in Sylvia.
Okay, you see, it just says no firearms or drugs will be allowed at the market.
Okay, well, we mean
Okay.
it as a booth. So
Fantastic.
you can't bring guns and come down there and sell guns at the farmer's market.
Okay, that makes much more sense.
Can I also address a couple of questions? Thank you. I'd like to continue now. Part of our goal here in Whitney, I think, for all of us as a community is to bring our businesses to our downtown. Hillsborough, the neighboring city, also has a farmer's market. I would rather see our local farmers be represented in our town, not the neighboring town. So I appreciate this, and I want to say one more plug. My 96-and-a-half-year-old father that lives in a neighboring city is often a recipient of the products that are produced right here in Whitney because he is a former farmer himself. If you can get apricot preserves, please hold some for me.
We will watch, because we have some interesting preserves coming in this year. Some of the things that we actually have on the queue, which I didn't bring it, we have our first artichoke harvest. So we had 2 artichokes, and that's so exciting. If you understand Texas farming and our agricultural, I mean, I'm big into agriculture, I'm going to throw my other hat, because I'm in the grape growing industry. So I'm real heavily into farming and grape growing, so I'm going to throw my farmer's market hat. We have been experimenting with some different types of products or things that we grow. And this is our 3rd year, and we actually just harvested our first 2 artichokes. Now, they're not going to come to the market because some of our team members are getting the first shot. We also have potentially figs, blackberries. Pomegranates aren't in until October, November, December, so that'll be after the market. There is, one of the farmers is working on elderberries. So we have a lot of interesting things. There's Japanese eggplant, there's garlic, there's horseradish. And then we also have cherry tomatoes, regular tomatoes, squash, cucumbers, all that, chard. The challenge we've had in previous years is our market has had to move. And when it did, it was kind of hard for people to find, and you never knew where it was. We're trying to make big signs. Here it is, that's in our town. What that's done, though, is that's caused some of our growers not to plant this much. So our growers are already fighting with weather and rain or not rain and hot or hail, and they're farmers. So I would ask, if this gets approved, or when it gets approved, I think positive, that we promote it across the town. It's going to be a small market to start, and the more people that come, the more local vendors we get. The more local vendors we get, the more people we get. And Happy Jack, who I think most of y'all know who Happy Jack Farms is, they're our local CSA provider, and they are going to be there doing some of their CSA pickups. And they have some amazing lettuce and tomatoes and extra things right now, so if anybody's interested, they will have additional besides their local. Did that answer your questions?
Yes,
Do you
yes.
have another one?
One last one.
Okay.
100% in favor of farmers markets. I really like the fact that this is downtown, and I really hope that it can stay downtown for the next 10 years. I will absolutely say that the 4 pages of regulations gives me pause, mostly because we're doing this on public streets. And by way of it being a vendor guideline and contracts, Whitney Farmers Market or its designees, this is on page 2, shall reserve the right to cancel any vendor's participation at any time if and when the seller shall be found to be in violation of any market regulation or eligibility requirement. Whitney Farmers Market reserves the right to revise the vendor regulation at any time. I'd like to see that change from at any time to with the mayor signing off or something, since this is going to be on public streets.
Well, here's your challenge. If you have to come back to the mayor to sign off or the council to sign off, you actually violated what the state law is for farmers markets. So one of the things that changed, the reason why that's in there, which maybe gives a bit of background, is you can have a vendor come in. We don't require them to be there every week. So if a vendor wants to say, okay, July 1st, that's my first day, and they show up, and things like you just mentioned, like the guns and the fireworks, if that's not clear, I've got to be able to go back and revise that. And usually what we've done is, we all sit in the tasting room, the air conditioner, and we talk, okay, what did we miss? What, because every year we do this more.
Right.
So if that needs to be revised, it's usually the team that comes together and says, you need to change this or that. So we're trying to follow state law. Department of Ag is very specific. The health department is very specific. So we're trying to fit within that. In fact, a lot of those terms did come from the Department of Ag and the health department. So changing the terms, even though it's on public property, would be a little difficult. We have to come back, because that puts us in potential violation of state versus laws.
Competing interests. I get it.
Yes.
On your thing, you're saying you want to start this Saturday, is that
Well,
correct?
we had to revise it because that was, we were having a meeting last week. So our farmer's market is, depending on y'all, ready to launch May 31st. So it would be May 31st. We have it blocked from Washington all the way to Railroad. You can come into a lot of vendors, but most of the time it will be from Washington to the alley between the two buildings. So it won't go all the way to Railroad. Did that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions?
Everything's handicap accessibility.
It will, it's out on the street, so yes. None of our
Even the
sidewalks.
cooling station and restrooms.
Restrooms are for the vendors only. And we have old historic buildings, and no, they are not ADA compliant, because these buildings were built in 1800. And that is I think we brought it in front of the budget committee 5 years ago now, on sidewalks and streets not being ADA compliant. But we do, that's a whole nother, I'm sorry, it's a different topic, but it relates to ADA with the farmer's market. I think Jason was here last council meeting and asked for projects for his youth. And one of the things we came up with was painting the sidewalks with the yellow, so our older people, can see where the sidewalks are, where they're not handicap accessible. And so we were talking about that last week, but I know that's a slide that it is sort of related.
Well, maybe they could build a few ramps too.
Yeah, ramps, it's challenging in the city because you need, for every 1 inch, I'm sorry,
We're getting off topic.
okay. We can discuss that outside here, or in a second.
One of the reasons that we're going all the way to Railroad is it requires council action to close a public street. We want to have room to grow, okay? So if we brought it to you to say we want to stop at the alley, then guess what? 3 months we're coming back to say let's go to Railroad. So that's why we went ahead and just made it an entire block. They probably won't need that for a little while, but in chess you're thinking 2 moves ahead all the time. So we're planning for growth here. That's the reason we decided to do the whole street.
How long do we anticipate? Do we know how long the farmer's market will be running? I know through the summer,
September
but.
27th.
It's on the briefing.
Yeah,
Okay.
September 27th will be our last day, and the
I'm
next
sorry, I
weekend
missed
is
that.
Pioneer Days.
Okay.
And there will be rainouts, and there will be times that we won't have as many vendors, because like I said, they are not required to come every week. If they have produce, we want everybody there all the time, but yeah. And we're gonna try to do some fun things, like maybe bring in music, have somebody play, or, I don't know, food truck, or something to get people to get engaged in the
Okay.
Did I answer everybody's questions? Anybody have any more questions?
But I think the only thing that I've heard as far as the question is basically, I know that the vendor agreement says hold harmless everybody. How does that work in practice? As far as if somebody gets hurt down there?
So all that's before the council tonight is the road closure, and so if somebody were to get injured down there, they would have to make a legal decision with regards to themselves about who they think is liable for that.
Fair enough.
Any other farmers market questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we, approve the permit for the Lake Whitney to be a recurring event on Saturdays, beginning on the 31st of May, through the 27th of September 2025, from the hours of 7 a.m. to 1 p.m.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Line item 13, deliberate act or provide guidance on making an offer for full-time employment for a police officer applicant. Chief?
Hello again. All right. So this is like the worst part of my job all the time, because unfortunately, we're gonna lose a good officer. He's basically put in for another agency, just basically personal reasons, be close to family kind of thing. It's Officer Geary. He'll be with us next week. Once learning about his decision to leave, already had some applicants who had already applied, put in for the position, and came down to Christian Tillman, which he goes by Alex, but he actually initially started his career here at the City of Whitney, then moved on to the Hill County Sheriff's Office, and he'd like to come back to our community and continue to serve here. So, like I said, putting a recommendation to hire letter before you, just basically asking for your consideration and approval of his return. Yes, ma'am.
It says after a brief tenure there, the officer Tillman has expressed a sincere desire to return. Can you tell us a little bit about his brief tenure there and what he did?
Basically there is a patrol deputy, worked patrol and postal service, dealt with the community along with the City of Whitney and Hill County community. He actually came forward to us and basically said he wanted to come back since his family lives just outside the city and wanted to be closer.
I've also asked this question before, do we still have Spanish-speaking officers on staff?
So once this occurs and Officer Geary leaves us, at that time we will not, but I mean, we do have resources that we use as officers to help us in translation.
Why did you leave the first time?
I believe from that, what I was under the impression was, it's basically a change of administration and kind of he's brand new to law enforcement, along with other individuals as well, and kind of jumped the gun a little too fast, and they all left the city with him. So now they kind of realize, hey, it's not that bad, new leadership, so everybody kind of wants to come back.
Madam Mayor, Council, if I may, the City of Whitney sponsored this individual to go through Police Academy. So we're gonna get a return on our investment there, by him coming back. He did leave whenever, there was, 2 administrations ago, and we lost our entire department, if you remember. And just like, in the world of Facebook, it takes one bad rumor to go around and they all think they're getting fired, and in their best interest to look out for their family, they feel like they have to leave. So, unfortunately, we did lose a lot of those departments, individuals in the department, but we built a great department right now. Officer Tillman has cut his teeth at the Sheriff's Department, and he has been a great asset to them. And he will make an absolute awesome officer for the City of Whitney.
And I've also mentioned before that I'm really not concerned in past history. I know you've heard me say that many times. What happened 1, 2, 3 police chiefs ago is not really my concern. I'm concerned about present day moving forward.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I will make a motion that we, provide Officer Tillman,
Yes, ma'am.
full-time employment as a police officer here in the City of Whitney.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Line item 14, deliberate and act on making the council meeting packets available to the public by publishing the packet online before the meeting, generally when the agenda is posted.
Mayor, Council, so this has come up a couple times. I've discussed it with our legal counsel, and she says that it's a council and a city manager's call to release this packet. I'm not a city manager. We're not a city manager form of government. It's very important. People think that. We are not a city manager form of government. We are a council, alderman, mayor council. Okay? So the council is the one that needs to make this decision, not me. And I wanted to put it in front of you guys. Ms. Teal asked me to do this. I want to make sure that you understand that this is public record. And you've all been provided with Public Information Act training. You should be familiar with what's made public. You know, it's not my call. And I was not comfortable releasing this without council action.
And if I can add to that, as y'all may or may not be aware, many councils, and I'm so sorry about this microphone, but many councils do publish their entire council packet. That's not unusual, especially for larger cities, but staff may have to make decisions about what goes in the council packet, because there may be some stuff that's in y'all's council packet now. I don't know of anything in this packet, but in the council packet now, which for various reasons, including, you know, like bank account numbers are a good example, that you wouldn't want that necessarily out on the web. And so they may have to make some different choices and look at the packet differently. That's not an lack to be transparent. Another example is if they included a staff person's resume in your packet with phone numbers and addresses, that may need to be redacted or not included. But that doesn't keep the council packet from being published, and that happens in a lot of cities across the state. So I just wanted to kind of give that caveat so that y'all can also consider that.
I've always thought we needed more transparency.
And just to be fair, I'm probably the one that's been doing a lot of the open records requests lately. But personally, I see this as a way to just streamline the process, as opposed to Christy having to wait for me to request a specific packet and then get it and then turn around and everything. Just have it as an understood, let's do it, get it done. It's going to happen anyway. I am very familiar with the Open Meetings and Public Information Act, which is why I did not go ahead and just post this online. I am aware of those limitations. It's why I have not just posted the salary list that I got and put it online. But I am going to be asking for publicly releasable documents. And this is an easy way to tackle this immediate part on a regular basis. So I would love to move to pass this and would appreciate the support.
There's a lot of things in there that don't need to be publicized. Names, addresses, phone numbers, personal information that.
Can't hear you.
They can't hear you. There's a lot of things in there that don't need to be publicized. Names, addresses, phone numbers, people's.
And state law has addressed that, and I'm going to read into the record Government Code Title V, Open Government. Under the fundamental philosophy of the American constitutional form of representative government that adheres to the principle that government is the servant and not the master of the people, it is the policy of this state that each person is entitled, unless otherwise expressly provided by law, at all times to complete information about the affairs of government and the official acts of public officials and employees. The people, in delegating authority, do not give their public servants the right to decide what is good for the people to know and what is not good for them to know. The people insist on remaining informed so that they may retain control over the instruments they have created. The provisions of this chapter shall be liberally construed to implement this policy, and this chapter shall be liberally construed in favor of granting a request for information. That is not a summary of the law. That is how statute is written right now. So I would like to see these packets being posted in accordance with law. We have guidance on that. And that would be just kind of a start. And I would like to see more things happen, being publicly transparent once we get past this first change. Thanks.
So we have a motion?
Yes.
Do you want a motion? Do we have a second? Motion dies for like a second. executive session. We're gonna go into executive session at 7:25. If during the course of a meeting covered by this notice, the city council should determine that a closed or executive meeting or session of the city council or consultation with the attorney for the city should be held, or if required, in such closed or executive meeting or session or consultation with the attorney is authorized by the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code 551.001, etc., will be held by the city council at the date, hour, and place given in this notice, as the city council may conveniently meet in such closed or executive meeting or session or consult with the attorney for the city concerning in all subjects and for any and all purposes permitted by the act, including but not limited to the following sections and purposes. We're going to go Texas Government Code 551.071, consultation with the attorney. 7:25.
7:25 for the record.
I'm actually not on your round. Oh, you're not? I'm usually not. I don't pay attention to this much.
Okay, guys, I'll have to be requesting the packets each time.
Me too. My fourth Monday of the week, I want to call it something. I am too. It's much easier.
There's going to be a lot for them to do too. Where everybody goes?
I don't know where she is. Amy, we're waiting on that.
No, I'm not sure. Yeah, we're just doing a closed session now, so. It's a lot better than earlier.
Leaving the dream over? Something like that. Busy. Hey, yeah, I went to the top of your.
Where is there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was, what do you think about that idea?
We just gotta go. Yeah, that would get a lot of that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a bunch of teenagers. Mustangs. Trying to. Yeah, one of them ran from us.
So, anyway, let me know what
Yeah, the Mustangs. There's a king, there's brown, yeah. Once you start throwing them, and then. Well, most of them never had insurance.
We got some farms on our roof.
But no, they were usually speeding through or something like that, or they have to put it on insurance. And then one night, I was like, cheap being out the way. For me. Young kids that won't pass it on. Yeah, it's probably the worst thing for us. So we do that all the time. Yep. You want to race it? Go to the street. And some of them actually, they moved away, so, yeah, after they got some tickets. Yeah, it wasn't just us, too. Here, you went to Hillsborough, you got Toad there, Hill County got them, you got them again. I'll put it this way. There you go. Worked out pretty well. All right, I'm out of here. All right, she's having I'm sorry. Yep.
Well, this is.
Pretty excited. I'm calling her a little bit.
If they just make a decision out there, they come back to us. If they just do
No, everyone's been here basically now. He is. No, last year. He's usually at the high school and then where he every guy's playing. Yeah, last year. Oh, good. He's not right speaking. Oh, really? Oh, wow. So that well, we just visually see. You just start memorizing after a while. The cars and all that. Oh, yeah. It's like, hey, it's done. 2 weeks go by us. Months go by us.
Your usual work, what is it?
90% of the Oh, yes, it is. That's huge. That was crashing all the I don't know why it's weird. Well, if you don't want to, so that's kind of a hard thing. They don't have right now for yeah. And then someone hits that an hour later, and then you see them driving again.
Oh, absolutely. As far as, I know how to make this happen.
City, yeah, around 12:40 and 12:45. It takes a long time. I heard that. So as soon as it doesn't have to make it like straight over. Yeah, I went over there and I started. The thing is, we've already been through several layers. No, I'm just talking to kids. How many years? How many well, I know you're a while late, and I'm not 26. I'm saying that the city cannot get any grant, so they got everything crossed off. So I speak up, I'm just going with it. So we come in town at 32, we run a red light there, trying to get to work. And there goes there 22. That's the deal. The new administration, no matter what, that's all point. They would still, it could be whatever it was.
I've been one of those asking for audits as a
Who did we go through? Who did we so follow me? I follow me. The problem is everybody's sat down there and trying to
All I mean is that units convenient to them. They have
fix the sewage that is huge and the kids are standing over there. Just like, I don't want the kids to fall over the sewage.
Oh, really?
It was hard.
Really hard to get baseline.
That's exactly. I know where exactly what's going to occur. It's gravel, if you hit that bump or where that's probably.
One time Mary was
So I have to be careful here, they don't really pick. So ABS weather, so it's just like, I got this too. Oh, I go, I do that. Then they crash it. Yeah.
that is that block is that where there's no
Well, there is no business on the other side. And the church.
That's not in so why are they putting it on this end? I'm just saying, I know.
But there's nobody
They're not
there
saying-
besides the big
But they're not saying, it's like. They didn't say Brazos, they said Washington. Washington goes this way, it is that. So the only part that is, has closed businesses would be from Brazos and over to Mendocino, right? I'm just saying. It's like you can't make them think. And you don't know what they're thinking. It's happening.
Oh, really?
It is doable. We had that problem.
When the county started putting in everything is locked, and there was even one of big awards for transparency. I'm just saying.
She did yeah, it's weird.
It's about asking. I have been asking since 2006, 2005.
I can't do nothing about it.
You keep asking, nobody giving you information. You can't keep being told, oh, $20,000. Now, what do they do now? They send requests to the attorney, so our city taxpayers have to fund the stupid attorney's bill. You know, that's ridiculous. No, it's
We're gonna try one more thing
They won't do it.
with laptop.
They can go to the attorney.
Something.
You know, we don't have to have them. We have a local attorney, Robin was going to have, what's his face, he was.
Something. I don't think.
I don't know why they keep putting, it's just stupid. We used to have.
Anyway,
Judge Taylor
If
was
it
our
comes
city
down
attorney,
to,
Dwight Carmichael was
it's gonna
the
have
city
to be
attorney.
replaced.
Who was the last one?
What's the priority?
I think Judge Harris was, so they need to.
Might have been, yeah, I think it was.
just look like they're looking.
I think it was somebody.
Obviously, we don't have a
I worked for Dwight Carmichael, so I know.
They take time to try to prepare no more.
Having to have an out-of-county attorney, that's like when they went back.
So,
I've got all
we're
the
coming to
land in the
look
city
at
on
it.
457 acres.
So what's actually the issue with it?
They didn't have it under.
So you can't, so basically,
Could have gotten a bunch of
it won't
money.
do anything.
My husband was on the city council, a lot of
We're
people
seeing
there.
bias.
What did they do? Oh, they had that
But it doesn't,
attorney
it
from
doesn't.
Austin. Oh, I'm a landman for that company, I'll do it.
So I have tried to rebuild it.
So what did they do? They gave away the farm.
They're gonna come try to.
So just say, all you have to do is hire this guy who doesn't represent a land and oil company. But no. I tell you, we shoot ourselves in the foot so frequently. You just don't know.
I don't know. What is it?
Oh, company. But I heard from the questions the other day.
He just called me and said, yeah, I'm saying.
So when they brought it in, it wouldn't boot at all. Well, I had to, basically I had to go through, so it's down at the level of the encryption. So I had to go through and basically go around, and if you go through, you go around the encryption.
Microphone, come on. Lean into that camera, come on.
Dale basically said we'll send somebody out. I know most of these guys.
Come out of executive session at 7:45.
I would like to make a motion to enter into an agreement, order with TCEQ and authorize the mayor to act on our behalf in this regard.
Second.
Point of order, we wanna make sure that we include the
Oh,
amount.
I'm sorry, for $18,200, I apologize, yes. Thank you.
Have a motion, second?
Second.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye. Abstain.
On item 17.
Make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Adjourn at 7:46. Thank you all.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
That's okay. So I will be requesting every single time a public packet to release to the public, starting with this one. And for the record, nobody seconded it, and now I have to go through and read everybody's comments on this thing. But I'm going to hit finish first. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.